Number 5. Triple H vs Kane, SmackDown 1999. Taking place on September 23rd, 1999 on an episode of SmackDown at the height of the Attitude Era in WWE, this Inferno match between Triple H vs Kane wasn't a very memorable one considering the stipulation. With only 4 minutes of runtime, this match was more storyline driven than focusing on in-ring action. Triple H wanted to be included in the upcoming six-pack challenge WWE title match at Unforgiven 1999, but Vince McMahon wanted to make Triple H's life a living hell by placing him in a series of gimmick matches on SmackDown in order for Triple H to earn his spot at the pay-per-view. One of these matches was this Inferno match against Kane, who had already been in 2 Inferno matches in his career at this point. As the match didn't last long, Triple H came out victorious as the Ministry of Darkness led by The Undertaker would interfere, taking a bloody and beaten X-Pac out onto the entrance ramp, who was Kane's tag team partner at the time. The Undertaker's distraction worked, as Kane would unleash his wrath on Viscera and Mideon, diving off the top rope. However, Viscera would be the one to screw Kane out of the win after pushing him into the flames, causing his glove to catch fire. This bout was the only Inferno match Triple H was involved in throughout his legendary WWE career, whilst Kane had a total of 5, rightfully making him the godfather of Inferno matches. Number 4. The Undertaker vs Kane, Raw 1999. The second ever Inferno match just so happened to be a rematch. Taking place on the 22nd of February 1999 edition of Monday Night Raw, we saw the Brothers of Destruction up against each other once again. This time it was ordered by Vince McMahon as a way to undermine The Undertaker, who had been getting under the skin of the boss. This match was seemingly more focused on about what was happening outside of the ring as opposed to the action inside the ring, as we saw Vince on commentary at ringside for this match. The pair in the ring ran through their usual moveset in what proved to be a pretty good match, before Paul Bearer handed Vince McMahon a black box, which inside had a teddy bear. From here on out, Vince had lost all focus on the match, giving the advantage to The Undertaker, who could now focus more. The brothers would end up fighting outside of the ring when Kane tried to kick The Undertaker into the fire, somewhat mirroring their last Inferno match, but the Phenom would grab Kane's leg, placing it into the fire, making the Big Red Machine 0 and 2 in Inferno matches. The Undertaker would proceed to walk up to Vince McMahon, grab the teddy bear from him, and also set that alight, which was later revealed to be Vince's favourite childhood toy. Number 3. Randy Orton vs The Fiend Bray Wyatt, TLC 2020. The most recent iteration of this gimmick match was held at TLC 2020 between the Viper Randy Orton and The Fiend Bray Wyatt in a Firefly Inferno match inside the WWE's Thunderdome. The lack of fans physically present in the arena allowed WWE to use camera tricks to tell their story and put together a compelling and shocking matchup. However, considering that the fire itself had been moved to the barricades and not on all 4 sides of the ring, the danger level had drastically reduced. Although saying that, the match itself was very entertaining, thanks to the literally explosive ending. The Fiend and Orton started the proceedings by keeping the pace decisively slow, before unleashing the memorable final stretch. At one point, Wyatt would even try to set fire to Orton whilst he was knocked down onto Wyatt's rocking chair. Soon enough, Orton would fight back with a flurry of offense and end up setting Wyatt on fire, delivered an RKO whilst Wyatt was still on fire, then eventually set him completely ablaze with lighter fluid. It was a clearly shocking ending, the likes of which is rarely seen in the WWE these days, and the closing visual of the Viper with his iconic pose whilst the Fiend was burning was an incredibly cool one. The match successfully reintroduced this gimmick match to a newer WWE audience that hadn't been able to witness a spectacle like this live. Number 2. MVP vs Kane, Armageddon 2006. An unlikely pick for second place, but this encounter between the former mouthpiece of the Hurt Business, MVP, and an unmasked Kane was driven by proper stakes in place and the athletic ability of MVP, which made the matchup quite interesting. Built as the semi-main event of WWE Armageddon 2006, the two superstars used the always entertaining dynamic of the big man versus the small man fight. Another aspect that makes this match so good is that the two wrestled close to the fire for long periods of time. It increased the danger level infinitely and used the stipulation to its best. A spot where Kane removes his turnbuckle to light it on fire and try and use it against MVP was quite innovative and unlike what we had seen in previous Inferno matches. MVP also tried to climb to the top rope at one point, only to be scared away by the rising flames. The eventual ending was quite memorable as well, as Kane would force MVP's back into the flames on the outside of the ring, setting MVP's back ablaze, giving the Big Red Machine his first ever Inferno match win. MVP was on fire for a good 15 seconds before it was extinguished, and he deserves props for taking such a risk. Number 1. The Undertaker vs Kane, Unforgiven in Your House 1998. The first ever Inferno match at WWE's Unforgiven in Your House 1998 pay-per-view is still the best one for obvious reasons. The viewers were obviously in shock and awe, witnessing something as unprecedented as this. Another example of the WWE pushing the envelope during the Attitude Era, Kane and The Undertaker would go on to wrestle a banger despite being encircled in such dangerous territory. Never for a moment did it seem that the pair feared what could go wrong, with the flames shooting into the air as The Undertaker delivered Old School was a sight to behold. Even though Vader made some unnecessary interferences during the contest, it didn't affect the quality of the match and actually benefited the story quite well. A few dives from the top rope were fantastic, but the best moment of the match came when Undertaker dived over the flaming top ropes to take out Kane and Vader at the same time. Ultimately, The Undertaker would pick up the win after deflecting a chair shot from Kane, booting him into the flames, and setting Kane's arm ablaze. Even though the pair would face off numerous times over the years, this match stands out as one of their most famous bouts, and a stipulation fitting for the Brothers of Destruction. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling content.